Alright, so the next part here is looking at writing counter arguments and rebuttals, which are a very crucial component of which is a very crucial component of argumentative writing. So when you write an argumentative writing, it's not enough for you to just say, hey, this is my point A, this is my point B, this is my point 3, and that's it. So for instance, if I would like to persuade somebody to choose geography over another subject, I can say why geography is great, right? But if I'm able to highlight why geography is better than something else, right? Why I show that, for instance, why history is not as good as geography, or people may think history has its merits, but geography has something additional to offer. Okay, so when I can do that, when I can put down the opposing argument, it makes my argument a lot more credible. And that's what a counter argument and a rebuttal actually is. Okay, so do take note of this. You can jot this down in your booklet. Okay, so your rebuttal has to be stronger in order for you to not sound confused in your writing. Alright, so the rebuttal paragraph definitely requires some planning. Okay, so if this is not apparent yet, before you write, you have to plan. Why plan? So that your essay is a lot more coherent, it flows better, you are not wasting time beating around the bush, you are impactful, and that you sequence your paragraph for the maximum impact, and you think of your word choices ahead of time. So students may not think that planning is useful, but actually to write something that is that is persuasive, that is able to capture the person's attention and engage the person throughout, planning is necessary. Okay, so that's something I hope that you can grow to adopt, so that you are more comfortable planning quickly, and it helps you in your writing journey. Okay, so this is a paragraph that you have been given. You should be able to see this in your textbook. So it's on the same topic again, on whether the use of technology in education is necessary. Alright, so if you haven't read this particular paragraph yet, please do so. Okay, you may pause this video and then you can come back after you have read it. Okay, so it is important for you to ensure that you are not confused in the paragraph, otherwise your reader is also confused. So your argument must follow a certain logic. It must make sure that the paragraph itself only addresses one main idea. It doesn't go all over the place, so that your reader doesn't have to do the difficult job of figuring out what you're trying to say. Okay, so that is your role as a writer, to make it as easy to understand as possible for your reader. Okay, so take a look at this paragraph over here, right? So explore this. Do you find parts of the signposting confusing? Is it a coherent essay? Right? Is it something whereby the rebuttal itself is not very persuasive? It's confusing to the reader itself, or to the writer himself or herself. Alright, so you can see this here is not a very positive example. Okay, so how do you ensure that your rebuttal is more convincing than your counter argument? Right, because if I were to use the example of geography, for instance, I'm persuading you to take geography because of reasons 1, 2, 3, and I want to put down history. I want to say that history is not as good. But if my counter argument is stronger than 1, 2, and 3, then you are presenting a very confused argument. Your reader will be very confused, and they'll wonder, okay, so what exactly is your stand? Are you for geography or are you for history, for instance? Okay, so when you are planning the counter argument paragraph, do spend some time to think of the best possible counter argument, so that you don't contradict yourself or present something that is less convincing towards the end. Okay, that's quite a that's going to be quite anticlimactic. Yeah. Okay, so looking at this particular paragraph, you can see that there are different ways for you to make your rebuttal stronger than your counter argument. Firstly, what you want to do is to make it very clear to your reader that you are trying to signpost. Okay, so I can say critics of my preference for geography may argue that history provides blah 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 blah, or you can say some people are of the idea, some people are of the opinion that literature is a more crucial subject to learn in this day and age, you know, something like that, to show that you are trying to show the counter argument. Okay, then you want to show that you are rebutting this counter argument, right? So you have to make it very clear that you are rebutting, otherwise people may not realize that that's what you're trying to do. Okay, so you can say that, wow, people who disagree that while some people may argue that history has its merits by A, B, C, D, E, okay, it fails to address, okay, something strong to counter and to show that you really disagree with this information. Okay, so some signposting words to help you along. All right, and another thing over here is that you have to consider how you use modals. Okay, not sure if you remember what modals are, but modals are things like might, could, will, should. Okay, I may go to this place, I will go, I can go, I shall go. Okay, so these are just some examples of modals. So take a look at this example over here. Right, the modals that are used will convey a different message altogether. So you have to use the correct modal so that you sound convincing. Alright, so between these three, which one sounds more convincing? Okay, I have 4 examples here. Alright, so it's up to you to decide. When you take a look at this, you can see which one here has more weight. Okay, so this here is an example of where you should place it. Alright, so for instance, if I were to talk about the negative impacts of being addicted to the internet, if I say that teenagers may experience anxiety when they are online very often and they are influenced by body image standards. If you say that teenagers may be influenced or may be affected or may experience body dysmorphia, then it's not as convincing, right? So if I say that teenagers may lose sleep, may experience body image issues, the usage of this word may make it sound like it's not that serious. But if you say that teenagers will lose sleep, okay, teenagers, based on our research, will experience some form of body image issues, you can see one is more persuasive and one is more convincing and impactful over the other. Okay, but of course when you write this, it has to be factually correct. Okay, you must choose the model that fits the factual component of what you're trying to say. Okay, so you can see here, when you use the more uncertain modals, this particular paragraph is not as convincing, right? So critics of my stand may posit that technology has no place in the classroom as it could be a source of distraction. So you can use this to your advantage if you want to weaken another party's argument, but on your own, when you're using it for yourself, you got to make sure that you use something a little bit more convincing. Alright, so this here just means that critics of my stand may say, or may claim, may state. Right, another example is here. Okay, while that may be true, you are downplaying the impact. This here helps you to sound a lot more convicted, sound like you have a lot more conviction. Okay, and you want to sound that you know your stuff when you're writing your your rebuttal to your counter argument, so that you will win. Alright, so this part is in your textbook. I would like you to try and write down something that you realize after watching these two videos on how to craft a good introduction, as well as how to craft a good counter argument and write a good rebuttal. Okay, do indicate one concern that you will still have, or something that is still not very clear to you. Okay, so taking a look at the rest of the booklet, please ignore this part. We'll do this in class on Monday, and hopefully with the 30 minutes video, more or less 30 minutes video here, you're able to get a deeper understanding. It gives you a good starting point on Monday when we try and we write out some of our ideas in the classroom. Okay, so hope this has been helpful. If there's anything that you want to clarify, please just let me know. Alright, thank you very much.